Dead in trespasses and sins, wherein in time past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in children of disobedience, among whom also we all had our conversation in times past in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, who were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. Amen. We're going to stop right there, and we will pick up verse 24 later. Well, let's go to 24 here. Let's go down to verse 24.
What chapter?
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll come back to that. It's 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 24. We're going to speak on the subject today. Let's see. It's October, right? Mm-hmm. And what so-called holiday we have in October? Amen. And what do we see on TV?
Horror movie. Pumpkins.
What's your favorite horror creature?
Jason.
Does anybody? Huh? Nobody has one. Okay. Anybody see The Walking Dead? Mm-hmm. Okay, everybody's familiar with that. We're gonna talk, I never watched it myself, but I read about it. We're going to talk about how a Christian should walk in this world. Okay. Amen. Not as zombies.
All right. Amen.
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 Be seated. Thank you, Ernest, for the intelligence. I got to say, I don't want to preach on zombies. It's Halloween. I'd rather preach about something else, but I have to preach on zombies. How many of y'all know what a zombie is?
Amen.
Amen. What is the most unique thing about a zombie?
They dead.
They still living.
They dead, right?
Still walking around.
Right. They have no soul. Right?
Right.
They all have been reanimated. They're dead, but walking dead.
Right.
Basically, that's what they are. Now, what did we just read here in the scripture? Verse 2. Where in time past ye walked accordingly to the course of this world. Were we zombies at that time? No soul, no purpose, fumbling around, eating each other up, devouring one another. We were dead.
Yeah.
Basically, we were dead to God.
Yeah.
See, God told Adam and Eve in the garden, the day that you eat, you're going to die.
Yeah.
And Satan told him, no, you won't. So we're in trouble today as a human race because we chose to believe that God was lying and not the devil.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
And that caused all of this problem. So I saw someone post on Facebook this week, how is it that one man can sin brought about all this trouble, all this misery, all of our pain and all of our heartaches we have in this world? Yeah. How is it just one fella did that? I didn't do it. I wasn't there with Adam. It wasn't me. One person. And as a result, we all have to suffer. We all have to bear our children in pain. We all have to work by the sweat of our brow because of what? Sin. Yeah. Well, in the TV show, The Walking Dead, the zombies, the way I think I read the story is that everybody, this is fiction, everybody has this virus. And the virus activates when you die. So everybody, the entire human race has a virus. But we know that that's fiction. In reality, the word is telling us we all have a virus in us. We're born with this virus called sin.
Yes.
And sin separates us from God. See, sin is just like when you don't pay your cell phone bill. And you're sitting there dialing, and you can't get a hold of anybody. But there's a 911 in there. Your phone can be turned off. You haven't paid your bill in 2 years, but as long as you got a charge, a spark of life in that phone, you can dial 911. Y'all know what that 911 is? I can't hear you. Jesus. That's right. You call on Jesus, and when you call on him, you can restore that communication.
That's right.
But see, sin separates us from God. See, God does not hear the sinner except when the sinner calls 911. Amen. So that's where we are right now. We're fumbling through life. We're stumbling. We're bumping into each other. We're trying to eat each other like the zombies. They want to eat brains and all this kind of stuff. And young children, zombies aren't real in this sense that you see on TV. But when you're born dead, we're born with a cure. We're born with a disease. I'm sorry, not a cure, but with a disease of death. Mm-hmm. It says here that in verse 1, and you hath he quickened. Quickened means being brought back to life. Right. See, we were all born dead in sin, and God has quickened us, made us alive again. See, we're three-part beings. We're mind, body, and soul. But the mind is what the devil attacks us constantly. If you're a born-again child of God, Satan will get into your mind. He'll walk up suggestions. He'll say that, God, what God said ain't true. You ought to believe me. That's the way the devil operates, through the mind. See, when the serpent tempted Eve and then later on tempted Adam, it was like an intellectual thing. Somehow you're so smart, you don't, this doesn't apply to you. Right. And the devil will lead us that way in temptation. Right. And we were dead in trespasses and sin, just like the zombies. Wherein in time past, you walked according to the course of this world. Last week, regardless of what your politics are, when the confirmation of the Supreme Court Justice, you had people scratching at the door. And I thought to myself, they're just like zombies. They didn't get what they want, so they're going to just start scratching at the door. Kind of like every kind of old horror movie. Well, that's what happens when you're led, when you're told what to think by something greater than you. Right. See, in the Haitian voodoo stuff, when a person becomes a zombie, they're controlled by another. Yeah. It's like a living robot. And usually there's like an old witch doctor or something that put the, you know how it goes in the movies and stuff. And that person, he walks around soulless. He walks around wandering around, stumbling, trying to go just anywhere. But he is controlled by something. Well, if you look at what's happening in the world today, you realize there's a lot of spirits around. There are a lot of people out there that are being controlled by something. All right. And they don't, the problem about it is they don't even know it. They don't even know that they're Satan's little pawn. Yeah. And if you ever play chess, you can sacrifice a pawn to get checkmate. Yeah. So that's what people are nowadays. They're running around worshiping all sorts of things. And they're not outright worshiping Satan. They're going to be outright worshiping themselves or something other than God. Right. They'll try to take a substitute Jesus. I had a friend of mine who took a picture of him and Louis Farrakhan and said, I'm sitting here with my Jesus. And I said, Lord help. I love that brother, but that brother is deceived. Because you know what? No man can take the place of Christ.
That's right, that's right.
First of all, for Christ to bring us free, one man brought sin and death out. Right. But yet, the good news is there was another man.
That's right.
Another man who fixed it.
That's right. Amen.
Another man who walked perfectly before God. Yeah. The one man that did not do one single sin in his entire life. Had he done one sin, had Jesus lied, or had he told a fib, then his dying on the cross would not have saved us. Because Jesus said that it's going to be shedding of blood is remission of sins. Because with zombies, we run around and they bump into each other and they try to devour each other, and they're controlled by another being. It says, in verse 2, where in time past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince, that's his name right there, of the power of the air. The spirit that now works in the children of disobedience.
Disobedience, oh Lord.
I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like this world ain't my home. It's not my home. Don't you know, someone said to me the other day, and I thought about it, I said, that's deep. This life down here is the closest some people will ever get to heaven. You think about it. This life, this is as close as they'll ever be to heaven. Wow. And then if you're a child of God, this is the closest you'll ever be to heaven. See, because we've been quickened. We were born in sin. We were born like spiritual zombies. But when you accept Christ as your Savior, all of a sudden you become born again.
Yeah.
All of a sudden that soul, that spirit inside you gets resurrected from God. Because see, we got separated from God. Now you're brought in with God. We're still mind, body, and soul and our flesh. And the Bible, Paul speaks a lot about the old nature.
The old nature. That's right. Old
It
man.
wants to rise up in us all the time. Well, we know that old nature is like a zombie. But we're not zombies because we have been made alive. Our spirit has been resurrected. Because when the human race died, when Adam and Eve sinned, that connection, that direct connection with God, direct fellowship with God died.
Right.
In the Old Testament, when they would offer animals and sacrifices to try to cover their sins. See, there's a difference between, like, if you got a rotten piece of wood and you put a nice fresh coat of paint on it, you make it look so pretty on the outside, or you go buy a used car. The mechanic, well, not the mechanic, the dealer has went in there and he detailed that car. I mean, he shined it, he went in the engine block, and he took a hose and washed off all the oil and everything on the motor, and he used to put honey in engines and some transmissions, and I got that car looking good. And then he tells you that you know, this car is about $8,000, and you can finance it for about 25% interest, and the car's only worth $2,000, but your down payment's $1,500. So that's the kind of deal. When Satan makes a deal, he makes a deal. So we get this car, and it's so good on the outside, and we drive, and all of a sudden it starts falling apart. Here we are scuffling to try to make car payments or repair a car. I've been in that situation. And that's the type of deal the devil works out. And look what he does to people today. He promises them that they can be powerful, that they can be great, that they are somebody, but you're nobody without Christ.
That's right.
You know, Jesse Jackson said, I'm somebody. No, I'm somebody because of Jesus Christ.
Amen. That's right.
Because you know what? Without him, I am nothing.
That's right.
Without him, I'm a wretch undone. Without Jesus Christ, I'm a failure. In Jesus Christ, I'm made whole. In Jesus Christ, I have new life. In Jesus Christ, I have been risen from the dead. See, God has promised us the earnest. It's like the down payment you make before you sign a contract. The earnest of your salvation is the Holy Spirit. See, one thing about it, you cannot be a child of God without the Holy Spirit. See, the Holy Spirit brings life. See, you can't be a zombie walking around with the Holy Spirit. You can be deceived, you can be oppressed, you can be messed up in your mind, but if you have been truly born again by the Spirit of God, His Spirit is going to dwell on the inside of you. And it's more than just a conscience. See, all the world, the flesh is just a conscience. You know, I did this, I feel bad for taking this or doing that or saying about this. It's bothering my conscience. But if you're a child of God, you got Jesus on the inside. What are you doing? You know better. I died on the cross for you to do better. And yet, we fail. But Jesus is still on the inside knocking. And when we learn to listen, when we learn to heed that voice, no matter what circumstance or situation, Jesus is in the midst of it. Jesus is still in control. That's why I'm not worried about right now they say the country's about to tear itself apart over foolishness. Jesus is still in control. That's right. It's just like the Bible has said, in the last days that men will become lovers of themselves more than God. We still talk about zombies. Lovers of themselves more than God. They don't care who they devour, or who they chew up, or who they step on, or who they mess on, or whatever they do.
That's right.
And see, like we're talking this week on the job sometimes. Sometimes you're in the midst of zombies and demons. I don't know about y'all, but that's what I deal with. Zombies and demons. But I know who's greater. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And what does verse 2 say? The plans of the power of the air and the spirit that now works in the children of disobedience. I mean, he's controlling all these little zombies, all these little robots running around thinking that they're right. And they're not. They're thinking that all this little mess down here in this world is so important. All the cars and all the jewelry and all this little stuff. Thank God for blessing us with transportation. Thank God for blessing us with a place to lay our head. Thank God for blessing us with the means to go to and fro. Thank God for blessing us with the means to talk to one another, phones and fellowship. Thank God for all of those things, but all of those blessings are temporary. They are all passed away.
There you go. Amen.
Peter talks about all the elements melting, burning away with fervent heat. So, just like, I always talk about the Egyptian pyramids. They're nothing but graves. They're graves. People have broken there, robbed the bodies, robbed all the gold, and the man's still dead. You can build a monument, you can build a granite tombstone to a loved one. But that loved one is where he's either with the Lord or he's not with the Lord.
Amen.
So all of this stuff is going to pass away. We're going to pass away. Every day I wake up with a new ache and a pain. As they someone say, my steps are getting shorter. I wake up, my shoulder killing me. I wake up with that. But you know what? That's the sign of deterioration. Just like physically, like zombies, their bodies are, our bodies. These bodies are not meant to last forever. They're only temporary. Prove it.
Yeah.
Y'all remember a man named Lazarus?
Yeah.
He died. Jesus let him die. Martha and Mary were kind of upset with Jesus. If you'd been here, my brother would not have died. And he's right. But Jesus said, I got to teach, I got to make a point. That I am the resurrection. I am the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. So he let Lazarus die. And there was no embalming. It was hot, dry, humid. And he was put in a tomb. And all of a sudden, decay and corruption. And from dust we're made, to dust we'll return. The only difference between us and dust is water. They said the human body's we're only about 8 pounds of chemicals, and that's it. Everything else is water. And so Lazarus was stinking. Lazarus was rotting in that tomb after 4 days. And Jesus told him to roll the stone away. I kind of think about Mary and when on the day of resurrection, when the angel rolled the stone away, but Jesus told him to roll the stone away. And they said, why? Lord, you sure want to do that? He's stinking. His corpse is rotten. There's death, there's corruption, there's the results of sin in that tomb. So they obeyed, they rolled the stone away. And guess what? Out pops Lazarus. Alive, well, not stinking, not rotting, resurrected. The thing I love is that Jesus had to call Lazarus by name. Because if Jesus did not call Lazarus by name, when he said, get up, all the dead will rise. But you know what? There will be a day. In the twinkling of an eye, the Lord will descend from heaven, and we which are alive and remain, the last generation that won't see physical death, will be caught up with the Lord in there. Those of us that have passed on, the graves are thus wide open, and we'll be with the Lord. But from this point, Jesus wanted to show them that he was the resurrection. So he came up all dressed up, bandaged, embalmed, or whatever they were doing, and they let him loose. Matter of fact, the Bible even says that some of the enemies of Christ wanted to kill Lazarus after he was rose from the dead. Because he was a living testimony. Are you a living testimony today? Have you been brought from death to life? Have you lost a zombie mind? We have to guard against that. The old nature. The old man wants to creep up sometimes. He will sit there and he will pick at you, and he will say, you know what, when you were out there in the world, you didn't have to worry about this. Everything you went away, you had all your partners and your girls and your boys and everybody, you had it going on. You didn't care what happened. But now you see. Like Paul, when he went to Damascus and he was knocked down and blinded, and all of a sudden the scales come off your eyes. Like a zombie wandering around through the dark. That's what we are sometimes. When the scales come off your eyes, then all of a sudden you can see what's really going on. You have a sense. You have a spiritual attenuation, just like being deaf. You got 5 senses. You also got the 6th one, which is that sense, that spiritual sense that contacts God.
Right.
Some people's 6th sense or their spiritual sense, they're in contact with something they don't really want to be in contact with.
Right.
You know, there are some real devil worshippers
That's
out
right.
there.
That's right.
I mean, there are some people that are totally given over to Satan. I mean, they have Satan church, you know what I mean? They are out there, and they're growing, and they're festering. And then, see, the devil, he got that little small group, but then he's got the larger group of people that are just complacent. People that just go along to get along.
Yeah.
But there's going to come a time that this is going to have to stop.
Yeah.
God promised
Yes,
that he's going to create a new heaven and a new earth where dwells righteousness.
Right.
That day is coming.
Yeah.
And we don't know when, but we do know it's coming.
It's coming.
It may be before we leave here today. It may be next week the Lord can come. It can be 2 years from now the Lord can come. It can be 1,000 years from now the Lord can come. But the fact does not change. He is coming. And he's coming for a church, not a church of zombies, a church without a spot or break. A church that is holy. A church that loves the Lord with all of their heart.
Thank you.
A church that will stand to be persecuted. Some people say that nowadays we don't suffer persecution like the early church did. I mean, we have trials and tribulations, and we have things, slings and arrows of the devil, but the church itself is not persecuted yet. There will come a day when you will not be able to meet like this. These people are out there now. They're out there, they're working. They hate the church because they hate God. Because they do not want to retain, in Romans chapter 1, verse 23, because they do not want to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind. It's a reprobate mind. What is a reprobate? A reprobate is somebody that calls light good, evil good, light darkness. Everything's opposite. That's a reprobate. And some people say that when you get to that point of being totally reprobate, that you won't sense the Holy Spirit. You'll call the Holy Spirit the spirit of Satan. But when you do that, I think you kill the 911 on your phone. But that's an argument that some people have. My point is, I don't ever want to get to that point. We have that 911. And guess what? What we should be doing is telling everybody we meet there's a 911.
Yes, sir.
There's a 911. No matter how low you go, no matter how much trouble you find yourself in, you can dial that 911.
911, yeah.
And guess what? Jesus will pick up that phone. And unlike the 911 operators, he doesn't get stressed out.
Yeah.
He can handle a billion calls at one time.
Yeah.
He can multitask.
Yeah.
Because he's omnipotent. He's all powerful. And he's omnipresent. That means he's everywhere all the time. So while we need to focus and realize that it's time for us to get about our Father's business.
That's right. Amen.
It's time for us to be able to share what's in us.
Yeah.
People want to say evil things about the church. If you go over the second, we don't have to do it now. You go to 1 Peter, the 2nd chapter, you'll see where he tells us to follow the rules in this world until they conflict with God's will.
That's right.
But at the same time, how many times I've been on a job and I've seen co-workers who would just, instead of doing their work, they'd be sitting up reading the Bible. Now, what does that do? Number one, it brings a reproach on Christ. In other words, you're supposed to be working, but you're at work reading the Bible. In other words, when people want to say Christians are lazy, Christians are thoughtless, Christians are wicked, Christians are self-righteous, Christians are holier than thou, Christians look down on their nose on other people, no. We are not that way. Amen. See, the world hates us. Why? Because they hated Jesus. The Jesus that we love, this world hates. Because the world's full of zombies. But as we wrap this up, in verse 3 it says, all from whom also we had our conversation. Now, this is the King James translation. Conversation means lifestyle. Or what can be said about you. You and I, me and Brother Taylor, we can have a conversation. But that's different than what's meant here. What can be said about you is true? Does everybody have faults? Everybody have shortcomings? Everybody make mistakes? Everybody sins?
We all have sins, yeah.
Do you keep a short account of sin? When you sin, do you pray and ask the Lord to forgive you of your sin? Do you pray and ask God to help you out of your sin? You say, Holy Spirit, you take the reins of my mind and my heart. See, we're still prone. God knows us. But you know what? That's what grace is all about. Because God knows our dirty lives. If you want to put it that way, God knows it. So that's why we have grace. That's why we have such amazing grace. Amen. I fall short, but yet I got that grace. Because of what Jesus did on the cross. Because of his obedience to God the Father. Because of his sacrifice. Because he allowed himself to be crucified. He allowed himself to be beaten all night long. He allowed them to put the crown of thorns on his head. He allowed them to drag him out to Golgotha. He allowed them to nail the nails in his hands. But the songwriter said it wasn't the nails that held him to the cross. It was Reverend Reese. Love for Reverend Reese. It was love for Reverend Lewis. It was love for each and every one of us that held Jesus to the cross. He stayed there. And guess what? We should have been the ones on that cross. I deserve to be crucified. I mean, even Peter was crucified upside down. Those disciples of Jesus, they were beaten. They were thrown to lions. They were murdered. They were boiled in oil. They were filleted like you fillet a fish. But yet we live in peace and comfort. We're safe. We can run around. We can do all this stuff. But there will come a day. You know, the Bible talks about the mark of the beast and all of that stuff. That stuff's real. We don't want to talk about it, but it's real. There will come a day where you're going to have to choose you this day who you're going to serve. Now, if I say I love Jesus Christ, I may lose my head. See, that's where no cowards. You won't have no coward Christians in that day. When it's going to cost you something. It can cost you your very life to be a Christian. But it's easy nowadays. We got peace and safety and we can do all this stuff. But one day, it's not going to go on forever. Just like it was in the days of Noah. Everybody was partying and doing what they wanted to do and saying, this man's talking about rain. We ain't never seen water fall from the sky. At that time, the mist would come up from the earth and the grass. We ain't talking about it. Talking about no mark of the beast and no judgment and no 7 bowls of wrath and no fire and brimstone, no antichrist, no man to sin, no man buying or selling without a number. They were saying that back then. And God prepared his people. God had repented God that he had created man. Because man's imagination was evil continuously. And you look at what's going on in the world right now. It's evil constantly. I have to turn off the news. I'm sorry, I have to turn off the news. I mean, look at the few headlines and that's it. Because all it is they're telling me what to think, how to feel. They're trying to promote fear to sell a product, by the way. But they're selling fear. How could we go from 5 to 6 24-hour news channels? What do they have to talk about? The same junk regurgitated over and over again, and now a word from our sponsor.
That's right.
Ka-ching. Because we're going to base our advertising revenue dollars on how many eyeballs are watching us. They're making money selling us fear. And see, God didn't give us the spirit of fear. He gave us the spirit of boldness, of power, of authority, of victory, of overcoming. This is a box that will give us fear. And dread. You think take over? We're going to, no. God is in control. And if God is in control of you, you are in his hand. And guess what? Who's big and bad enough to take you out of his hand? Nobody. Somebody once said that I believe that when it's all said and done, and we stand before God on the day of judgment, we're going to look down and we're going to see this little bitty, worm-like little ugly creature with a loud mouth That's going to be the devil. Everybody run around here scared of the devil, scared of evil, and realize that Satan's back was broken on Calvary. His back was broken. Satan is defeated when Jesus died and rose from the dead. So yeah, the gospel is about death, resurrection, spiritual zombies, new life, new creatures, born again, all of that. But we're going to see by and by that things that the world thought was important.
Yeah.
The silver and the gold and the power and the authority and the influence and all of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is nothing.
Yeah.
Because the Bible tells me that at the end of 1,000 years, they're going to let the devil loose for a little while, and then Jesus is going to come in and finally throw him where he belongs, in the lake of fire.
Lake of fire.
But it's happening. It's real. It's real. Amen. And thank God for this. And we're going to go ahead and end right here. We hope you got a thought.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Watch out for the zombies. We need to pray that God will quicken us to share life to them. Because we have life. In the old, research, old voodoo, Haitian, they were zombies. If a person was a zombie, it's the devil. It's not true. You could give them salt and it would break the zombie spell. We have Jesus.
Amen.
And Jesus can break the zombie spell.
Yeah.
If their hearts are ready to receive, if we stand, if we walk circumspectly among people, if we show Christ on the inside of us, if we show Christ in our actions, because you know, I always say the Bible, your life is only Bible, some folks are going to read. How you carry yourself, how you present yourself to the ungodly allows room for the Holy Spirit to prick them.
Amen.
And then you can share the 911.
Amen.